And good evening, good evening, good evening, and good evening. We have done it. We have done it. Before Adam Ida is officially announced as a Celtic player, we have done it. We've hit 18,000 subscribers. A massive, massive thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel. And we've done it. The next step is to officially get the One Celtic Fans View recognised as an official Celtic supporters club. That is work in progress, is all we have to say. And I'll tell you one thing. It's going to be massive. It is going to be massive if it actually happens. Just check. Yep, that's fine. So, I know there is football on tonight, and I have been looking at. I've got Sky Sports on, seeing the score lines coming through as we speak. So I will keep you updated. I know that a lot of you might be watching a certain team that I'll never watch, but anyway, I understand that it is. And one interesting thing that I will talk about, I did look at their lineup, and when you look at it, they're playing a 4-5-1. They'll say it's a 4-2-3-1. But for me, and I think that that is the way that they will play against Celtic in a couple of weeks' time. I think it will definitely be the way that they come to Celtic Park and play. They'll play 4-5-1. Anyway, Scotty Boys in the house. Hail, hail to Baz and the Celtic family. Glad to have become a new member. Scotty Boy from Cowdenbeath. Scotty Boy from Cowdenbeath. Thank you for joining the channel. And I've seen that you joined just before I came on this evening. Great to have you along. I am moving forward with the whole trying to get the One Celtic Fans View recognised as an official Celtic supporters club. And when I have more updated information on that, I will have it for you. Let me just turn that like that way slightly so I can read the comments. I need to go on to a video actually, and Stevie, if you're watching, as we'll give some shout outs to Stevie. It's on the Daniel Kelly one, wasn't it? Because there was a lot of love handed out to Stevie this afternoon, and watching from Benidorm. Let me just change that to yes first. Maybe not that one. I'll find all the comments for Stevie. I should have done. I'm just in from having something to eat, so I'll find all the comments for Stevie and I'll get them in the video in the morning. But yeah, big shout out to Stevie who had his carer message the channel, and I was when I read it. I mean, I went through and spoke to the missus about it, and there's no words really. There's no words. There is no words, I am in a special place being able to bring this to you. And I mean that. And I mean that. And I always try and remember as many subscribers' name as we can. And when I got that message this afternoon, if you remember Kevin from Aberdeen, the Grampian boys, he used to comment all the time. And then when people don't comment, you think, there's other things getting in the way. And then it was a couple of weeks later, about a month later, that we got notification from Kevin's missus that he had sadly passed away. And it does affect you, because it's a big family. It is a big family. Anyway, we move on. Big shout out to Kevin, rest in peace, from the Grampian boys. He always used to say that. He always used to say, "Big Kev from the Grampian boys." And the Grampian bus, the Aberdeen bus, is a fantastic bus. Anyway, we move on. Yes, 1,000, 18,000. We made it. We have made it. We made it before Adam Ida. It was a big ask. It was a massive ask. But I asked the question, can we get to 18,000 subscribers before Adam Ida is officially announced as a Celtic player? And we did it. And thank you. And I mean that by all my heart. I seriously do. I don't take it for granted. Not at all. I am so privileged and so honoured and so humbled to have 18,000 subscribers. And I mean that. I do mean that. It's absolutely mind blowing. I'm just a guy that used to go to the football. That's it. Just a guy that used to go to football for a long time and then moved away, and still has a love for the team and the club and the fan base. Anyway, thank you to the 18,016 subscribers that we have. Next target, 20,000 before Christmas. Can we get 20,000 subscribers before Christmas? Yes, I know I'm pushing the boat out, and but it would be a fantastic achievement if we could manage that. And it is a community. I am trying to build a community here. I am not. And you get people that come on and say, mate, you talk fucking pish. I'm away to watch this channel. I'm away to watch that channel. Well, fuck off and watch that channel. I'm a YouTuber. I'm not a journalist. Do you know what I mean? I am just a YouTuber that is Celtic daft, as they say. And if you want real journalism or churnalism, I don't care. Do you know, this is a fan's view. It's the one Celtic fan's view. And it's how us fans feel. And if you want the all covered in roses sometimes, and I know I have a moan, do you know, and if I'm not moaning to you, I'd be moaning on the bus going to games, and I'd be moaning in the pub to my mates going to the games. That's the difference. That's why and it wasn't even me that suggested that we start the One Celtic Fans View Celtic Supporters Club. That came from the members. And the members asked the question. And then I've got to just go with it. Anyway, hi guys, Stevie, seen your video earlier. Give him a big shout out, mate. That is absolutely fantastic, Rab. That is absolutely fantastic. That you and Stevie saw that. I'm so glad. Seriously, I'm so glad. Rab, if you tell him to either get in touch with me through Twitter or through the Facebook group, and we'll get in contact, and I would definitely get him some One Celtic Fans View merchandise sent over to him. Because anyway, and that's just water. Foundation built to eradicate concrete, which is now foundations. Yeah. Best news I've ever heard for a long time. I don't know what you're talking about. Foundation to eradicate concrete, which is banned now foundations. Take it, you're talking about Ibrox. You will get 4,000 before Ida's announced, says Stuart. Ventrac says, I wonder if the board are making the Matt O'Reilly situation, why the board are not milking the Matt O'Reilly situation. He has English tax because his count as homegrown and EU status, so it doesn't count as a foreigner to a club abroad. Rab says, Stu, he's on 18,000, mate, not 4,000. Yeah, I'm on 18,000 subscribers, and I thank everyone. Paul Baird says, the one thing about your subs are Celtic supporters. Yes, they are that. And it is. I don't want, you could make the channel bigger by trying to hit a bigger audience. The channel was built. Go and look back at the first, and I always say this, go and look back at the first Celtic video that I did 14 years ago. 14 years ago. The first Celtic video that I did. And I was standing with my daughters outside Celtic Park when Neil Lennon was announced as manager. There was about 100 fans. The Lennons have hardly sold any tickets for the game tonight. I'm just getting messages through about them. I'm not watching them, but I am watching Sky Sport. I might turn it over just to see the half-empty stadium. But yeah, this channel, I stood on the steps of Celtic Park when Neil Lennon was announced as Celtic manager. There was about 100 fans outside the stadium that day, if that. But I was there with my daughters, and that was the first ever video. That was the first ever video that I did. And it was never meant to be this type of channel, but it is what it is now, and I love it, absolutely love it. Anyway, we have hit 18,000 subscribers, over the moon with that. But let's get down to business and talk about some transfer news that has come around. Legia Warsaw have reportedly wanted to re-sign big Mark Nawrocki for 1.2 million, according to a Polish outfit, which is laughable considering Celtic bought him just a year ago for 4 million from Legia. Celtic declined a loan to go back to the club, and they rejected the offer. And the big breaking news of this evening is Celtic have lost another midfielder. Another Albion Rovers have beaten Cowdenbeath. There you go. KWON has joined Hibs. KWON that was at St Mirren last season. I thought he would have went back to St Mirren, but he's joined Hibs on loan as a Celtic fringe man. Is chucked out of Celtic, and he's another one of Ange Postecoglou's signings that didn't really hit it, did he? I mean, Ange brought a lot of goodness to the club, but at the same time, he brought a lot of players that just haven't made it at all. He has joined Hibs on a season-long loan. The Celtic midfielder was pictured at Parkhead under Brendan Rodgers, despite penning a 5-year deal to join. Yeah, it's a strange one. 23-year-old, 23-year-old, and he's joined the Leaf outfit. Why isn't there an option to buy with the deal? Why isn't there an option to buy? Malky Mackay says, we're really pleased to make KWON our 9th signing in the summer window. He's another top professional. He's had first team group, and he's got a good pedigree and a real presence on the pitch that he had with St Mirren. We would like to thank Brendan Rodgers and Celtic for the smooth handling of the move and how quickly and efficiently we were able to get this deal done. It was obviously a player that Celtic wanted to get off the books. It was one that Brendan Rodgers doesn't think is going to make it at Celtic. Another one on a lengthy contract that is Stephen's in the house. Stephen is in the house. Right, give lots of love to Stephen in the comments of the live, and I'm going to read them out to him. Stephen, there was lots of comments on the video this afternoon. I love the fact that yeah, you're amazing, mate. You're absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. God. Michael Ross says it's a good move for KWON. Scotty Boy says, will he be cup tied? No, he won't be cup tied because he wasn't in the squad at the weekend. Was he in the squad? No, because he won't be cup tied because he's the cup games this weekend. Scotty Boy says, is he cup tied? Good move, needs experience. Michael Ross says, I would not write off KWON just yet. He's 23-year-old, Michael. He's 23-year-old. Do you know, we're moving on players at that age that's not going to make it. If he's not going to make it at 23, Callum McGregor was younger when he got shifted out on loan. He's been out on loan for a season, and he's not going to replace anyone in that midfield. So, can he become a complete powerhouse? Can he do a Scott Brown at Hibs? I don't think so. I just don't think so. But you never know. Mo says that's what KWON needs, some game time. Mo, he got game time at St Mirren last season. He had a fantastic season at St Mirren last season. He doesn't need game time. He's just not good enough for Celtic. And wishing them nothing but the best. Stephen is the first comment coming in from Paul Baird. Great move, says Mo. Welcome, Stephen. Hail, hail, says Kieran. Scotty Boy 73. He probably won't be able to play as we're his parent club. He probably won't be able to play for that because we are his parent club. That will be written into the contract. Paul Bear says, wishing you nothing but the best, Stephen. Wishing you nothing but the best, Stephen. Michael says, hail, hail, Stephen. Mo says, hail, hail, Stephen. Peter King says, he cannot play against us. He's on loan. Yep. We all love you, Stephen. Hail, hail. Hail, hail from the Highlands. Baz KWON played well, but then got injured last season. Got injured, but he's not going to come in and replace anybody in our midfield, is he? Being realistically, Michael, he's not going to come in and even sitting on the bench. I just don't think so. Anyway, Gemma says, hail, hail, Stephen. Michael Ross has done that one. Bjorn says, hail, hail, Stephen. All the best, pal. Mo says, good point, Baz. Big Rab says, just seen the Buns banner at the game today. Wow, banter years are back. I need to go into Twitter and see this banner. Scotty Boy says, welcome to the family, Stephen. Hail, hail. Right, give me 2 seconds till I go on to the land of Twitter and see this banner that they did at Hampden. That they did not fill the stadium. And that's just wrong. I'm going to put in latest. Wow. Armed by all who knows them. What the fuck? Admired by all who know them. Admired by all who know them. What the hell is that banner? Where? What? What is the tiffle? It's got players' numbers. What the hell is that? Oh my god! Right, I'm going to put a quick link to this. Oh, because I can't get it on the live. So, give me 2 seconds. There is the banner. We'll get back to the comments. Welcome to the family, Stephen. Hail, hail, says Scotty boy. Peter King says, hail, hail, Stephen. Michael Ross says, loads of empty seats at Hampden. Brian says, where's my shout out? Baz, Brian, there you've got your shout out. Take care, Stephen. We'll support you, says Peter King. Also, Stephen, you've got lots and lots of support in this channel. And I tell you one thing, mate, you've pulled at heartstrings today. And you're one of us. You are one of us. You are one of us. Just remember that. Welcome to the club, Stephen, says Gerald Johnston. And Big Rab says, had to, mate. Had to, mate. Yep. Right, anyway. Still no news coming through if they've how good they're playing. Empty seats everywhere at Hampden. Just had a look. Baz says Paul Baird. Oh, fantastic news. Good evening, Baz says Miss Provisional hire. I'm sorry, I have to say that. I know it's not meant to be. Well, maybe it is meant to be that, but you're Miss Provisional hire, to me. Says good evening, Baz. Just jumped on to say. The pounds we got for O, Haksabanovic, Bosun, 8 mil, and the big money for big Hunt Muncher, either. That's the money. It is. It is. We've not spent any money, but that we don't want to talk about that this evening. We're in a good place this evening. We're in a fantastic place. The Adam Ida deal is done. His medical was this afternoon. He will be signed and paraded. He'll be pictured at Celtic Park tomorrow. And yeah, Gemma, that banner. That banner. Admired by all who know them. And then they've got it's meant to be banners with the shirt numbers and the players' names. Wow. I wish this was alcoholic. Jesus God. Jesus God. Europa League latest, the Europa League qualifier, third round. We need the Champions League qualifier. Need the qual. Still nothing as far as Champions League qualifiers. There we go. Bodo Glint. Remember them? Still Bucharest. Come on, where's the Sevco score? I've never even seen the Sevco score in the Champions League qualifiers. Never seen it at all. Let me jump onto the land of Google. And it is 1-1 from the previous leg. When you see the lineup, it's a 4-5-1. They can milk it all they want, say it's 4-2-3-1. That's a 4-5-1. That's a defensive lineup that the Rangers have this evening. And it's still 0-0. Rangers 50%. Live probability win. Dynamo Kiev 24%. Extra time 26%. Rangers 50%. That changes all the time when they're 32 minutes in. 32 minutes in. I don't know how the game's going. I'm not interested. I'm sure we'll be told. Anyway, let's jump back to the Wishy boys. Don't tell me he's a free Wishy. Jesus, man. Fantastic area. Simply the best doing shite. Tifos, yeah, they are that. Lorna Gallagher says they're good for a laugh. The numpties, aren't they? They are that. Tongs, Baz. Scotty Boy says, Baz, what do you think Ida wages will be? It'll probably be around about 8 grand a week. He was on five when and you know Celtic, they were low balling with the wages, and I don't think that Adam Ida was overly concerned about how much he wants to get paid at Celtic. He just wanted the move. He's maybe on more than that. The fact that he's cost 9 million, and you look at some of the players like Gustav Lagerbelke, he's on I think is about 12, 13 grand a week. Nobrowski, he's on about 14, 15 grand a week. Maybe they've put Adam Ida on 12 to 15 grand a week. Whatever it is, he's worth it. They have 20,000 empty seats. They're a massive club, are they? Fuck. European night at Hampden for the Sevco, and by all accounts, it is empty Stadium Central. Who says they don't do Walking Away? It's live on BBC Scotland. I'll need to change it over for Sky. Ida will be on a basic of 10 to 15 grand a week, says Mo. Yeah, that's what I think. The Huns need the money. This game is huge for them. I do not want them in the Champions League. I want them to get beat tonight and get put out of the Champions League altogether. Oh, here we go. There's Chris Boyd talking. Chris Boyd. Tavernier's getting the arse ripped out of him, according to Captain Marvel. Tavernier's getting his arse ripped out of him, according to the one and only Chris Boyd. No. It's no. Anyway, it's not going to be an overly busy live tonight. There is only 160 current viewers, 502. There is football on. That is the downside of doing the lives at this time of night. When there is football on, a lot of people have been away watching that. Paul Baird says they have 20,000 empty seats. They're a massive club. Are they fook? Mo says the Huns need the money. This game is huge for them. Mo then went on to say Ida would be on a basic of 10 to 15 grand a week. I think so also. If we paid 9 million for Ida, I thought it'd be on at least 20 grand a week, says Stuart. I don't you know the way that Celtic have managed to reduce the wage bill. Let's not forget that. Celtic have managed to reduce the wage bill enormously over the last couple of seasons, and there's not many players that are paid 25 to 30 grand now. I think Callum McGregor and James Forrest are one of the last of the high paid players that came from Brendan Rodgers' first time around. Because you've got to remember, when Brendan Rodgers came in the last time, the first thing that he did was put a lot of important players on lengthier contracts, and he put them on a decent wage so that he knew that they wouldn't want to leave the club. Your Scott Browns, your James Forrest, your Callum McGregors, to name but just a few at the time, were put on bigger contracts and bigger wages to make sure that they maintained the run to the 9 in a row, which was the ultimate goal for Celtic at that time. Lorna says that Tav had the Hall of Famer. Yep. Thanks for the shout out, Baz. No worries, Brian. Do we get more money for Scotland's representatives in the Champions League like other seasons? I'm not too sure. I think I'm not too sure about that at all. It more than likely will be, but I just don't want them in it, because if they were to get that kind of money at all, that's game changing money to them. That's life saving money. That's renewing Ibrox and pumping money into the team. You've got to remember, if we think that we're being clever with the type of players that that we're bringing in just now, if they get a sniff of 50, 60 million, they're going to overspend. They'll spend 80 million and worry about it later. Norwich, who'd lost Adam Ida, are currently winning 2-0. That was quick. I wonder if Adam Ida's watching that going, I'm glad to be away from that. Michael Shaw says, hail, Stephen. God bless you, Stephen. That's Michael Shaw that said that. Skinned twice by Kiev, balls across Kiev, poor, should have scored at least one of them. Joseph says, Hail Baz to me. Don't they want anywhere near? I don't want them near the Champions League either. Cross Keys and Tav, still very much business. I live by a beach. So pal hated Wishy, if I'm honest. Big Rav says, mate, depending on what part of Wishy you are. But yes, I wouldn't go back. Yeah. Would you break the wage structure to keep Matt? Kieran asked. Yes. I said this a couple of nights ago. I would put Matt O'Reilly on 45 grand a week. Put Matt O'Reilly on 45 grand a week and tell him that he's here for the next 2 seasons. The next 2 seasons, hopefully that's enough to keep Brendan Rodgers here. You're going to keep him here this season. You've got to remember, next season we go into Brendan Rodgers' final year as Celtic manager on his contract. I think if we put Matt O'Reilly on 45 grand a week, tell him that we're keeping him for the next 2 seasons, he still has 4, maybe 5 years on his contract. It's definitely 4. He's got 4 years on his contract. You could sell Matt O'Reilly with 2 years left on his contract, and you'll still get 25 million for him, maybe even more after he performs in the Champions League. Remember, teams are only holding off with Matt O'Reilly because they haven't seen him perform at the highest level. Although Atletico Madrid seen him firsthand, and they thought, wow, he's a player. They seen how even when Celtic got hammered, absolutely hammered in Madrid, and I was at that game, and Jesus, don't even need to remind me. But when we got hammered in Madrid, Matt O'Reilly was still one of the players that you were like, yeah, he is a good player. The fact that Atletico Madrid then put in an offer that January, as soon as the window opened, wanting to take him on loan to the end of the season, and because of financial restraints on the Spanish club, they wanted to take him on loan with the obligation to buy for 18 million plus add-ons. That was the offer that they put in, 18 million plus add-ons, remember. Celtic went, no, he's going nowhere at this time. We've got a league to win. And the fact is that Celtic want 25 million plus for Matt O'Reilly. For me, if he's worth that in a financial sense, turn around to Matt and say, look, we know you're only on 18 grand a week or something. We're going to double your wages, more than double your wages, put him on 45 grand a week. Build the team around him. Build the team around him and Paulo Bernardo. And the reason I say Paulo Bernardo is because Rio Hatate's been here for what, 4 years now? 3 years? 3 years Rio Hatate's been here. Rio Hatate isn't going to be here in 4 years' time. That's why I'm saying build the team around Matt O'Reilly and Paulo Bernardo. You know, that's the nucleus of your attacking force, and then get a couple of cracking wingers, and then Adam Ida up front, and maybe even 2 up front. You never know. But for me, yes, I would do that. I would break the wage bill 100%. Anyway, let's jump back into the comments. Baz, I agree with them. Don't want them anywhere near the Champions League. Yep. Does that mean that is that the average count tonight? Does aggregate count tonight? Yes, it does. It is currently 1-1 on aggregate. So it would go to penalties because the away goal rules do not work in Europe anymore, do they? So there's every chance that if it stays 0-0, it will go to penalties. Back in the old day when Celtic got put out of Europe regularly, it was because of the away goal rule. Don't need to tell me about that. I lived through the 80s. The amount of times that we got put out of Europe due to the away goal rule was unbelievable back then. We have been on for 28 minutes. I'm only going to stay on for half an hour tonight. There isn't a lot of people kicking around online due to the fact that the football is on. Big Rab says, Wishy Hill wasn't the worst, mate. Yep. Scotty Boy says, Miss Provisional. I need to stop calling her that. Yes, the aggregate counts tonight. It's currently 1-1. It does count. They only need to score 1 goal, but the away team will say they only need to score 1 goal. Also, Scotty Boy is laughing. Can you keep Matt O'Reilly? You can only keep Matt O'Reilly if he wants to stay, says Mo. Brendan Rodgers has said that. Brendan Rodgers said, look, Matt O'Reilly doesn't have to leave. But then Brendan Rodgers said, but the wages on offer to the player makes it difficult. No, Brendan. The board can turn around and say, Brendan Rodgers done it with Kyogo. Brendan Rodgers was asked, do you fear that Kyogo could be sold? Brendan Rodgers said, Kyogo is not for sale. That's the difference. When you look at the way that they're talking about Kyogo, and Brendan Rodgers says, no, Kyogo is not for sale. They've never said that about Matt O'Reilly. They've said, look, the club business model. They use a different wording of the language. Anyway, I think it's Leo's last season at Celtic. I think so also. That's why Paulo Bernardo, it was so important to get Paulo Bernardo in. Gordon Crouch says, evening Baz. Matt must stay. Yep, I'm of the opinion Matt must stay. But as soon as that 25 million, and the clubs are starting to get less and less that are willing to pay the 25 million, because it's getting to the end of the transfer window, and clubs don't want embroiled in a bidding war. So they are going for other players. There will be clubs that will say, we're going to hang off right to the end of the window and see if Celtic will snap at the offer of 25 million plus add-ons. That is still a couple of weeks away. We'll just have to wait and see. We would never let our club die, says they won't give Matt 45 grand a week. It was written into the Jota contract that he was to get 45 grand a week if he wasn't sold. But I know what you're saying. This board would never do it. Big Rab says Matt O'Reilly and Hatate aren't going to be here, Baz. The board won't allow him to stay after the 25 million is on the table. I think Rio Hatate will be here this season. I don't think that he did enough last season to prove that he is a 20 million, 15 to 20 million pound player. He had a really bad season last season. You can say, you could. Everyone's seen it. There's no use trying to paper over the cracks. Rio Hatate did not have the best of seasons, and I think that is what has held off people in other leagues going, will we go for him? He's never upped his game the way that Matt O'Reilly did. Matt O'Reilly outshined Hatate last season. A Tin of Paint says Rio is one who I think is desperate to leave. I think so also, and he's also been that. Demonte yellow card, says Naomi. Diamond just booked spent a few quid on Kiev winning. If we can keep Matt O'Reilly another year, the success in the Champions League, maybe he'll sign a new contract if we reach the knockout rounds, says Scotty Boy. I don't think it would even take that for Matt O'Reilly to sign another contract. If you sat Matt O'Reilly down today and said, Matt, we want to keep you here. We want to keep you here. And we're going to give you a big wage rise, and we're going to make sure that if anyone wants to come in for you, there's a 30 million trigger. Is that fair enough? But it's only a year or 2 years down the line. There has to be stipulated a time on that deal. And in that deal, it would be if 2 years' time there is an offer, a release clause offer of 30 million in 2 years' time after a further 2 seasons in the Champions League, I think Matt O'Reilly would go, give me the pen. Give me the pen. Do you know, he would meditate, he would levitate over to it. He would like happy days. Happy days. Matt O'Reilly loves being at Celtic, and he's in no hurry to leave. He is in no hurry to leave. If we get back to stay, we'll be lucky. Yes, I do think that. John Paul Money says, even Barry Boy. I wouldn't watch the Vile Lot if you paid me. Not even when they're getting pumped. John Paul Money, I don't even watch them. I'm watching Sky News at the moment. And it's just came up at half time. The Rangers score is still 0-0. 1-0 on 1-1 on aggregate. Third qualifying round, second leg, which means if it stays 0-0, goes to penalties. If they score, Dynamo Kiev score, they go through. If Rangers score, they go through. Fuck. Anyway, Walker says, just saying about Mikey Johnson. Paul says, it's true we are linked with Ryan Porteous. I saw that. Ryan Porteous to Celtic? I don't know. I've seen a thing about it earlier, but when I do more digging, there's nothing concrete coming out that I'm seeing about it. Scotty Boy says, here's to the only Safeco Cup win, the one and only. Leo Miles is in the house, Gemma's in the house. If Matt O'Reilly stays, we will have a great season. He could pick any team. Yes, he could. Matt O'Reilly could pick any team just now, but I think once he goes into the Champions League, once we go into the Champions League, I think he's going to have a good Champions League, and he's going to show the national manager in Denmark what he was missing in the Euros. And I think the fact that we have signed Kasper Schmeichel will also back that up, because there's nothing better than having the number one goalkeeper that is close to the national manager speaking to the manager on your behalf. Because the manager is going to pick up the phone to Kasper and say, look, what is Matt O'Reilly like? And Kasper's going to go, the guy's fucking amazing. The guy's a cracking player. He can play at that level easily. He can play at a national level easily. And just wait to see what he does in the Champions League if he still stays at Celtic. That is the big ask this evening. Anyway, Chef Scottish says Matt O'Reilly and Brendan should put his foot down for one more season. Be worth more next year. The thing is, if we get into the Champions League next year, it's not only the 50 million that we get for the Champions League this year, it's the 50 million that we get into the Champions League next year, which makes the 25 million that you would make on Matt O'Reilly just now become irrelevant. Because then you've just made 100 million in 2 years. Rather than taking the short-term view of, right, we can get 25 million for that player just now, well, let's look at the view of we can get 100 million out of the Champions League over the next 2 seasons, and then sell Matt O'Reilly for 25 to 30 million after those 2 seasons. For me, it makes business sense. Whether the bigwigs at Celtic, whether the Lawwell and co at Celtic think along those lines is completely different. Rangers will win because Kiev. Pish says Carly. Big Rav says, Baz, what have you been smoking and thinking about the board would even think about turning away that kind of money? It's just me thinking my own thoughts on how Celtic should maybe think about it. And we know that they won't, but sometimes if you're a big club, and Brendan Rodgers said, look, Celtic are a big club. Big clubs think like that. Big clubs think, we're not selling this player because we've got the next 2 Champions League to think about. If we are truly a big club, like Brendan Rodgers said when Kasper Schmeichel came into Celtic Park, he said, look, the facilities, big club facilities, fan base, big club fan base, you know, the reaction and the pressure that you're under, big club mentality. When it comes to selling players, you're a feeder club. It's not a big club mentality. It's not a big club mentality when you come to keeping your best players to thinking a year down the line. I'm sorry, it's not a big club mentality when it comes to that. Anyway, Kevin says, hail, hail, guys. Michael Shaw says, good luck to Miss Pira. Rab says, Baz, if they lose, are you coming back on? Of course. Of course they'll come back on if they lose. You know how much I like milking it when they lose. If they lose, I won't be back on right after it. I'm going to have a break though. Waiting for 100 million doesn't secure Peter and his pals their end of season pay when they perform is better at Celtic. This is true, but you never know. Big Dom says, I don't think that we will sell Matt O'Reilly. There's too much at stake this season. Rangers new club Arpish says Paul Beard. Right, I'm going to call it quits for this evening. A big shout out to Stephen and a big shout out to everyone who gave Stephen lots of love. I'll run through some of the messages that were on the beginning of the video. Michael McDonald said, hail, hail, Stephen. Mo said, hail, hail, Stephen. Scotty Boy says, we all love you, Stephen. Hail, hail. Michael Ross. Bruton says, hail, hail, Stephen. All the best, pal. And there was lots and lots more. Hail, hail, Stephen, says Peter King. There was lots of messages like that just for you, Stephen. Absolutely love the fact that you are one of us. And on that note, I'm going to call it quits. If they lose, of course I'll be back on. Just a couple of last comments. They are pish, but Daniel Kev don't look any better. I don't think that they'll lose. I'm surprised that they ain't winning so far. Do you think that Brendan Rodgers will stay beyond his contract? There is every possibility. I think Celtic is his team. Yes, Celtic is his team. Will he stay? People have said, don't be surprised how long he stays. Scotty Boy says, could you imagine Rodgers staying on 5-year contract after the 3 and takes it to the 10 in a row? Now, there's a legacy. There's a legacy. Lorna Gallagher finishes it off. Hail, hail, Stephen. Have a great night, everyone. Hail, hail, Stephen from Plymouth. Have a fantastic evening. If they get beat, of course, they'll be back on. That's what this channel's all about. We are on 18,017 subscribers. We did it before Adam Ida. I was just checking the news there. Before Adam Ida was announced as the Celtic player. Next step is the big 20 before Christmas. And on that note, have an absolutely fantastic you right there that is watching this. Yes, you. Have a fantastic evening.